Is Bray Wyatt being removed from WrestleMania? Rikishi returning to WWE? And who is being inducted into the Hall of Fame? We're talking about it right here on The Angle Show. All right, y'all, tons of big things are happening in the world of pro wrestling, but we're going to kick things off with Rikishi. A lot of people are talking and speculating that Rikishi could be back in the WWE with some sort of angle in the Bloodline, which obviously makes sense because the whole storyline is based on family ties. Now it's actually been taken a step further because of the comments made by Teddy Long on Sportskeeda, and he believes that the Hall of Famer will actually be brought in, and he believes he should be brought in. And honestly, this is actually a really good idea. He says that only thing I can see now, you have to bring in Rikishi. You have to bring the father in. He didn't raise his boys like that. And I think that is just such an intricate part of the story that a lot of people are forgetting about the Usos being the sons of Rikishi. And there's some drama there. And why did Jay, finally reunite with Jimmy Uso? Like, what's actually going on here? This is a thing that people are talking about. This is something that I feel should definitely be addressed. Now, it can happen after WrestleMania. It can happen before WrestleMania. But I think if the Usos were to drop the title belts at WrestleMania and then Rikishi's on SmackDown the following week, I mean, that right there is just a big reason for people to tune in. Layers upon layers. That's exactly what WWE needs to do. And the cool thing is this doesn't have to be Rikishi wrestling or anything like that, but you can have him on TV, which ultimately helps further the story of the Bloodline. This is something I'm super excited about. Can't wait to see it possibly go down if it were to go down. What do you guys think? Let me know. We're going to move on to our next topic of the day. And yes, we are talking about Stacy Keibler because it appears that WWE could be inducting Stacy Keibler. Well, at least according to PW Insider, they have reported that WWE is very close to finalizing a deal with Stacy Keibler to induct her into the Hall of Fame. If done, she will be the first female member of this year's class to be revealed. Now, keep in mind, we know that Rey Mysterio was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, or he will be inducted this year. And we know that WWE has been trying to bring Stacy Keibler in years past, but now sources are saying this one is about 99% done. Another source actually noted the deal was not done as of this past Friday, but thinks the induction is likely to happen. So obviously a little bit mixed reporting here, but Stacy Keibler being in the Hall of Fame would make a lot of sense. She had a very nice career in WWE. And Stacy Keibler, she was just a hell of a talent for WWE. Obviously, people may have forgot that she actually used to work for WCW as well. After WCW was purchased, she was joined into the WWE as part of the company. And, I think WWE has done such a great job with the Hall of Fame as of late. And it's such a strange thing because the WWE Hall of Fame really isn't taken that seriously by most people. But I look at the Hall of Fame as just to me at least, I think the Hall of Fame is something where people just get recognized for their work. It's not about accolades. I think a lot of times people look at accolades, championship belts, this and that. I think if you played a significant role on WWE television or in the wrestling industry, you should be celebrated. And I think that's the cool thing about Stacy Keibler. It's not like Stacy was a 20-time women's champion. It's not like she was like Charlotte Flair in the ring, but she still did a lot of great things for the WWE, which ultimately ended up benefiting the company. And more significantly, man, I just really think Stacy Keibler is a hell of a talent, and she's always been a great person for the WWE. So therefore, her getting celebrated is something I support. And guys, we're going to finally talk about Bray Wyatt. Wanted to wait for more information to be revealed. There are tons of mixed reporting. So for the rest of this video, we're going to talk about two different reports that have to deal with Bray Wyatt, okay? The first one is based on Ryan Frederick from the Wrestling Observer. Today on the F4W board, Ryan Frederick reported that Bray Wyatt is out of WWE's WrestleMania card due to creative issues. Frederick actually doubled down on this post as well and saying that there's still a possibility that things could be worked out to get him on the show. WWE has not yet given any indication that plans have changed, but it's notable that Wyatt was not at SmackDown just over a week ago, and instead they sent out Uncle Howdy for the segment with Bobby Lashley. Now, this is where things get incredibly weird because there is another report where it's kind of the opposite. But before we talk about that report, we got to talk about a really big issue here with Bray Wyatt potentially having creative issues with WWE. Uncle Howdy has yet to be revealed. Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, from everything we've seen so far, it appears that Uncle Howdy is Bray Wyatt's creative mastermind. So whatever's happening with that, it seems like it's coming from Bray. So if this were actually true, the idea that WWE and Bray Wyatt have creative issues actually doesn't make that much sense to me, considering that Bray Wyatt has been reportedly given a little bit of creative freedom to do what he wants. Obviously, he has to get approval and stuff like that, but it sounds like he has quite a bit of input on his character and the things that they're going to be doing with his character. So the idea that creative frustration or creative issues exist, to me, doesn't sound that realistic. In fact, I would say more than likely that's not going to be the case, because when you look at Bray Wyatt and the WWE has always done things right by Bray Wyatt. And the idea that fans like it or dislike it, to me, doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, Bray Wyatt continues to sell merchandise. He continues to be a major part of the company. And this is where things get even more crazier, because Fightful Select has actually reported something else. So according to Fightful Select, WWE source told him that Bray Wyatt is sidelined with a physical issue. For what it's worth, we know that Wyatt has been wearing a knee brace in recent months, but again, we have not gotten confirmation that this is the reason why he did not show up for the show at Madison Square Garden. Thus far, those who know Wyatt have been quiet about his status. Now, this is where things are very strange, because for those who don't know, Bray Wyatt missed Madison Square Garden. Bray Wyatt hasn't been wrestling on TV lately. Bray Wyatt has barely been on TV lately. But also, that's kind of part of the intrigue of Bray Wyatt. If you look at Bray Wyatt on television, the part of Bray Wyatt that you need to understand, it gets over based on the fact that he does these vignettes and these video packages and the Uncle Howdy stuff. There are so many layers to the Bray Wyatt character that he doesn't necessarily actually need to be wrestling in order to be effective at selling tickets for a show. So with Bray Wyatt missing MSG and possibly being injured, that actually sounds more realistic to me than any other story that's being reported. Now, can there be creative issues? Of course. I'm sure every wrestler in every wrestling company has some sort of creative issue. I'm sure everybody wants to be a world champion, and I would go even as far as saying a lot of people probably want to do more than they're actually doing, because I think that's a very human trait, right? You always want better for yourself. So is it possible? Of course. But Bray Wyatt, we saw him hurt his finger. We saw that go down, Bray Wyatt spent a lot of time away from the ring. Maybe that has something to do with it. There could be so much to be said about Bray Wyatt's status that I don't want to sit here and speculate any further than based on these two reports. But either he has some sort of injury, which sounds very likely, or there could be a situation where he's got creative issues, or it could be a mixture of both. With that being said, nobody really knows. It's going to be really interesting to see how things go down. If I'm WWE, I want Bray Wyatt on WrestleMania. You cannot have Bray Wyatt miss WrestleMania. Even if it's not a match, you could do a lot of cool things with Uncle Howdy. Let's get to it. Let's see what happens. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I appreciate you all for watching. My name is Ango, and I'll see you next time.